All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday, June 17th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back, of course, for our afternoon meeting. Just did a sound check in our room just before from Bobby, Debbie, Michael, Norman. Great to see you all there. And for all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, welcome on back. So let's hop right into it. I hope I woke a couple of us up as I kind of woke up a bit earlier myself. I jokingly said that before, but I'll tell you, things have been slow today. Coming off the Fed meeting here, we're kind of in the beginning of the summer period, right? I mean, I would say the dog days of summer, but that's kind of more for like late July, early August. I reserve that phrase for. So, nonetheless, it's slow. We had a couple of moves here and there. I'm in one stock right now. I've been taking these tiny losses throughout the like pretty much the whole late morning into the afternoon. I've had a couple of positive trades throughout that time, but I'll tell you that the first hour of the day I ended up doing really well on, and unfortunately I gave a lot of it back throughout those tiny losses. So I got to try and pick things up going into the afternoon. I ended up getting stopped out on a stock here, not BB. Stock Wish, WISH. You can see all of my pre-market lines. I ended up plotting here, well before the market opened up. But clearly goes to show I have an interest in this trade. I'm not as ready to put this on our main list just yet. It was pretty shaky going into the early afternoon. I was more so looking for the short throughout the morning. It ended up failing to pop at first, and from there pulled back down pretty nicely off the 11:30 level. One of my best trades, at least across the day, was off this Wish trade at 11:20. Ended up going short right from a 300,000 share print that got filled pretty much at market. Wasn't from level 3, but once I saw that, I ended up seeing a lack of momentum swinging to the upside. And for such a big print, it's worth taking the chance. If you happen to see less upside and more downside, I think it's more ready for the shorts. So ended up seeing a drop off really nicely. I ended up getting out actually at 11 on the trade. I wanted a lot more. I thought 11 would hold here. It didn't. Thankfully, I got out when I did. Ended up beginning to squeeze up, but you could just see, even at this point, I was very tempted to anticipate a lower high, a pull back down here. At least for right now, it's kind of making that move in the meantime back down to this yellow line at 11:09. I believe this is the opening bell print from this morning, 11:09 going into the open. So we'll see if that can maintain its support. It was a really strong top just a moment ago. Maybe I'll come back to this trade just at the very end, see what it does. If it ends up making a much bigger pop for me, perhaps I'll put it on our list for everybody. If it ends up dumping off, who knows? Maybe it can be a great short, but just this choppiness, I'm not really too comfortable just putting this on our list, advertising it for everyone like Norman, Tim, Kathleen, Skip. Let's see if there's better opportunities than this right now. So we'll see what else we got. Oh shit, I think I just got stopped out here too. Oh man, I ended up just getting stopped out. I was in right from 11:12, so I ended up seeing just the stop out right from there. But all right, that's fine. Another tiny loss. Let's go from top to bottom, though. I mean, hey, we ended up doing well on the MTP trade from earlier in pre-market. The ORPH, it's actually on the loser side, but that ended up making like a 2.5, 3-point run up going into the afternoon. So let's see what we got here so far. Regroup and reset myself at least going into 3 o'clock. So MTP. Nice push, at least from pre-market after or right before 8 a.m. Eastern time. Ended up making this bounce from $3, pushed up really nicely going into the market open. Unfortunately, it was a flop after. Ended up dying off right away after the market opened up. Decent buying opportunity once this ended up building support, namely off this 272 level. I ended up just drawing that as a really strong support level. I think that was from, if not pre-market, then after hours. Pre-market early, yeah, you can see that was just a strong base. I said, let's see if that can maintain as some sort of support, at least after the market opened up, and it did. A little choppy, but ended up holding off it, pushing up here right now. MTP, hey, this one looks a little bit more active so far compared to my Wish. So you know what? Maybe if we have a really big list, this will kind of get bumped at the end, but I don't mind starting off with this, putting this on our main list here to start. All right, SNPX looking. Let's see. This is like a reflection of our whole late morning, early afternoon. Just this chart here. Just not much happening, right? Look at this. Oof. ME 23andMe. I saw this get called out earlier, and it was more going into the late morning here. So this had to have just flown right under the radar for us going into the last half hour. Really, I haven't seen this recalled out since the morning. So for what it's worth, easily going to put this on our list. Hopefully, it's going to maintain as steady of a trend that you can see there. I would assume it's going to pull back and make higher lows at a minimum. Huge spread. Very thin order book here. You could just see looking at the trade station matrix. For anyone that doesn't have TradeStation as their broker platform, hey, if you have the NASDAQ book viewer, as Fausto shows from his webinars, level 3 otherwise, as we would nickname it, you would just see the same thing. Just very, very big spread, very illiquid order book, thin orders across the bid and the ask, aside from this guy here. That's actually pretty interesting. 1330, you have a big order on the bid that showed up just a moment ago. I'm sure he's still there. It looks like he pulled up, maybe moved his order up. Let's watch what happens here. This is pretty interesting. So right now we're seeing that order begin to get filled. 1331. It has to be through a different order book or through a different exchange. I'm trying to read level 2 here now to see what ECN or exchange that pops up as. It's got to get retested first. I don't want to sit here all throughout the afternoon watching this. We've got to go through the gainers list here, but we'll see. All right. Nonetheless, we'll put this on our main list, 23andMe. All right, let's see what else we got here. iSun, looks like that held for right now. We'll come back to that probably at the end either way. CLSD, another one that we ended up doing all right on, at least earlier in the morning. Ended up seeing this pop, going into 8 o'clock with the rest of them. Popped after the market opened up. Did pretty well in this trade off of $5 right away. And, unfortunately from there, it just goes to show, I say this like practically every, afternoon meeting that I do, when the volume dies off, so does the stock typically. So, once we saw the selling kick in and just broke below 550 support, that's over. That's a wrap. APPN, pretty expensive. Nice example of higher highs, pushing up pretty steadily, at least there. Our good old friend AMC, which leads me to, right? So AMC ended up making a nice move up going into the mid-morning, late morning here as it topped off roughly around 63.50-ish, and then, ended up practically going right back up there now and holding off. So, I'm assuming the rest of the other, quote-unquote Reddit stocks, the Wall Street bet stocks are fairly active. BB, BlackBerry, BBBY, nope. Express, that's the other one. Express was one that ended up moving with GameStop and AMC and BlackBerry and all those. It's not really doing much here. All right, so you know what? It might be AMC specific. Let me just check Benzinga Pro if I can, just see if there's any news on it, whatever the case may be. AMC still likely is just very high short interest based stock. Yeah, it's just pointing towards AMC and BlackBerry. No specific news, but those are really like the two that are more featured here from Benzinga Pro. So, AMC I'll put on our list. BlackBerry for right now, I'll put on our list. I definitely am a fan of BlackBerry, at least. AMC could freeze up my screen personally here. So, I'm not trying to have that happen. So for the meantime, I'd probably be more interested in BlackBerry myself. Can trade more shares of it too. Really quick, also, I just pulled back my Benzinga feed, and I ended up just seeing the YouTube stream right here from RJF. He says Clove. So that was a stock also that was a very high short interest and, was moving with the others, back a week ago or so. But yeah, right now it's at the lows here. Not a whole lot to write home about. I mean, I wanted to check that stock out, RJF, just because, again, that was a great call. I didn't think of that when I went through AMC and BlackBerry and the others there. But yeah, not a whole lot happening here. Tradable stock, I'm sure, but now this looks at least a lot better. SPWR, I feel like, I guess if you're trading a more expensive stock, EMPH tends to go with it oftentimes, two solar stocks. But yeah, nice push so far up to 27, that's for sure. 12,000 share plus order on the ask, you can kind of see right now 10,700, but he's popping in and out there. You can see him. But yeah. SPWR, come on down. All right, let's see what else we got. Run, not much going on there. Lee, LI, nice EV play from earlier this morning, pushed up really nicely. I know that Nikola pushed up pretty nicely after the market opened up. We're pretty familiar with a lot of these stocks. NEO, of course, a lot of these EVs have been pushing up all week. So yeah, for what it's worth, maybe they could just be on the side list. Lee for right now being the top percent gainer of those. It's just not really trending too well. Sideways move here in tight range. So I feel like the momentum just entirely has died off. And if that's the case for Lee, probably the same to be said for the others. So I'll just make that general assumption ahead of time here and just see what else we got. Atos, good side list stock. ATOS, good side list stock, just from like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, practically. Ended up pushing up nicely. At the time, it was shortable. Today, it is not, but it goes to show it could have been a great short, as it was a long, and good side list stock. At least check back in with it tomorrow, perhaps. RVLV. Nah. All right, let's hop over to the losers list. Actually, GOED last, I guess. This one pushed up earlier. I forgot to check this one out. Looks like it's kind of like pinning itself off 350. Looks like the grass is growing here, folks, right? So I don't really think we're missing too much by not putting this on our list just yet. All right, and I'll tell you, you look at the losers list. Oh, man. I mean, it's certainly a reflection of our day, unless, if anything, I mean, there are a couple of stocks getting decimated, so maybe they could be like good dead cat bounce opportunities, but the whole losers list is hard to borrow from TradeStation. So, this UTME trade down 72%. I'm pretty curious for this one, at least to check the news. Like, why is a stock down 72+%? So, it doesn't give me much. Benzinga Pro doesn't list much here, folks. There's got to be something. Unfortunately, I don't have the news on this one at least, but damn, this is a big drop to go from like, what is this, high the day off, like 75, 80 bucks here practically. Is this all-time lows? It is, yeah. New IPO, actually. That's pretty interesting. I don't know. The stock's just got a huge spread and very thin volume on the book. It's just tailing off. So, you can't short it. You have to just hope for a squeeze back up at some point. Maybe at 345, 350 in the afternoon, we get it. But I don't know. I'd rather wait for the order book to fill in more for a stock like this. Maybe. Nope. I was going to say maybe this stock could be it, down 63+%. I don't know what the news is on this. For right now, I'm not going to check. I'm not really too jumpy to put this on our list either. At least the spread is a lot more contained on this. Great liquidity on the order book otherwise. But, maybe this one I'll check in with tomorrow, perhaps. It's bad when you have stocks that are down more than what this dummy stock is. It says ctest.a. Like, that's a TradeStation, like, test symbol. I don't know why they have it there, but you always see me skip over that during the meeting. It's bad when a stock is down more than what this thing is. All right, a little Vino. Probably have some Vino later on this evening. Pushing up a little bit off support, higher lows, I guess. Not a whole lot happening here, but friend U1 taking a big dive here today. Took a dive back on Tuesday, looks like. Again, not a whole lot really to write home about on these trades here, folks. TAL, there's something here, right? So to come back to the TAL trade, I know Fausto brought this up during the morning meeting. We talked about this from yesterday, dove off, after a big gap down in pre-market, but holy smokes, this thing just keeps on going. Now, we learned from yesterday, it's not all-time lows. I would have to go back more on the daily chart for that, but we've seen the stock at like $2, I think, back a number of years ago. So this is not all-time lows, but obviously still on its way down, trading a hell of a lot of shares per minute still. Great liquidity. So this one at least checks out. We'll put this back on our list. See, the issue on this trade right now, it looks like there was some selling off of the 21 level just earlier once it broke below it, but since it's been having a tough time trying to make a move lower from it. So that would insinuate a potential squeeze up heading into the afternoon, but you would be kind of in a bad position if you were thinking that at any time over the last month, right? So you would have to really set a tight stop, be conservative if you're expecting a squeeze up right from here. Still has to break a new low of the day off 2095, but we'll see where this goes here. The TAL trade either way. EDU, same stock, same type of stock, dropping off, education-based company. I guess I'll slip it on here also. It doesn't hurt to do so. All right, let's see what else we got here. I want to check out ORPH. I alluded to that earlier. I don't think we're going to put it on our list going into the close at this point because it already did such a good job running all the way back up here. Is it possible it can keep popping up later on? Of course. And if that's the case, we'll call it out. But, otherwise, the main reason we were calling this out, at least at this time, was for the dead cat bounce. And God bless, this ended up working absolutely, flawlessly. I ended up leaving like a college tuition's worth of money on the table. I ended up jumping in, fortunately, right from the 13 level. Ended up getting filled right from 1303. Waited for the I came back to it in perfect time because it pulled back down lower off a reopen from a down halt. And I'm not too jumpy at that, but when it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe there's a chance. And I'm not going to, throw a dart on the wall and just, put a blindfold around my eye. I'm not, that's not how I played it. But off a whole number, 13, jump in if it breaks under and over the level. You set the tight stop right away. And hey, if I got stopped out, then fine, I would have moved on. It is what it is. But man, I mean, because of the move up, I thought it was going to drop back down. I got out at 13.55 or something like that. I got 50 cents, but man, this thing just kept going up right away after. It was crazy. So yeah, this ORPH stock, I'm sure that we can call this out later on if it ends up making a pop. But at this point, I feel like it could be more of like a distraction or more of noise otherwise for anyone that's like, more uncomfortable trading a stock that has a more fluctuating spread, thinner order book. Hey, if you're more of a level 4, level 5 trader, if that's what you consider yourself, and you know who you are if that's the case, because you're the ones making, the $1,000 plus a day, more often than not, let's say, maybe not every day, but more often than not, then hey, then that you should be more following the stock. But for anyone out there, more of a level 1 to 3 trader inside our cyber group trading room, I would just rather this not be a distraction to you. That's all. All right, HL, bunch of crap here otherwise, I think, to wrap things up, which is fine. We have a good list. I like the MTP. I like the SPWR trades. If, the AMC trade gets going again, I'm sure BlackBerry will tail with it. All right, from Norman in the trading room, he says gray pop, and that's one that we did call out from earlier. So I don't know. I guess I just skipped over this, or maybe I looked at it and just brushed it off quick, but this was one that we called out. It was a nice move from earlier. Maybe I just skipped over it completely, but obviously made a new pop here going into this afternoon. So absolutely yes, have to put this on our list here, the gray stock. Brian W. here in the trading room also says the pot stocks are worth watching. Connecticut just passed a marijuana bill. So that will be subject to MJ here, Brian. If this isn't popping right now, probably not worth the time, to be honest with you. And that's just from experience too. I'd love to see Tilray make another run. Love to see Kronos and all of those other, stocks, the SNDL, all of those. I mean, hey, we do well on those trades, but just I know from experience because of New York and everything else here, it hasn't really made a big move today, right? So this is what you would want to focus on, MJ, the pot sector ETF. Now, a stock that I may just slip on our list here at the end. It didn't look that volatile. It didn't look that good up until literally right now. I wish I'm in it. I was in it from earlier, actually from 25, and I ended up not really doing that great on it. Got 8 cents on it. Slow, choppy, ended up wasting a lot of the profit. I think that was from earlier here, but ended up beginning to push up nicely. I was in it recently from 25.20, ended up jumping in and out on 2 occasions and essentially went scratch across the board there. And damn, this thing's popping back up right now. All right, so PLTR is a stock we're familiar with, right? And we were watching this stock back from Monday of this week where we ended up seeing a lot of buying coming in off at 25. So for a little while, I was waiting for this move. It's not as if I was like, chomping at the bit and telling you folks about it. But, each and every morning I'm looking at this stock in pre-market, looking for, a setup. And I said, you know what, let's see if this can make a push to 25 today. And after the open, that's what I was following. So for what it's worth right now at this stock at the highs of the day right now, and we're familiar with it, most of us, at least inside the trading room, I have zero problem slipping this just probably on the tail end of our list, Palantir. All right, so folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you would want me to check out. I'll tell you, otherwise, it's kind of been a snooze fest heading into this meeting. I hope that it's not going into the next hour, right? But, otherwise, though, we don't need to force any stocks on our watch list. I mean, hey, this might end up dudding back down and pulling back. And, in that case, then I wouldn't really suggest for this to be as great of a trade. That's why I said I'll tag this on at the back of the list, right? I like the gray stock a hell of a lot more. I like the ME trade if that can keep pushing up and making higher lows. I like that a lot more. So we have a good list still. But again, unless there's anything making an extreme pop or drop right now that I missed, I think that we're all settled. David here says MSOS is a cannabis multi-state operators ETF. Very interesting. I did not know of this until right now. Pretty cool, right? Let's kind of compare this to MJ. Yeah, you could see some similarities on the daily chart. That's what I'm looking at there. MSOS is sharper on the way down. Maybe it's newer and pulling back towards a lower support level, but MJ going with it relatively. That's pretty interesting. All right, folks, I'll tell you, I think we're going to call it in total. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 stocks on the watch list here. Not too little, not too many. I think the shoe just fits. All right. So for all of us here on social media, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon. Just make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, if you've yet to join us live inside our trading room, feel free to do so, going right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. For all of us there right now, I'm going to jump into a coaching session. I know that Fausto and our presenters at the Cyber Expo are still going. I think that's on until 3 o'clock Eastern time here. So at least otherwise, I'll be joining you folks later on this afternoon inside the trading room. Talk to you then.